and the song is titled Ombi. God is able to restore. God hears our prayers when we pray earnestly, sincerely, and He does great things in our lives. So do not give up on God. Pray all the more, and you will see Him do great things in your life. It is now 13 minutes past 8. Welcome to the second hour of Breath of Heaven here on Hope FM. Listen and live. As I promised you, I already have my guest in studio. I was really looking forward to having him here. I was to have him on Monday, but nikasema I need to read this book vizuri. Alafu ndio nikianza kuongea kuhusu hiki kitabu, I know what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor and privilege of hosting author who is also, I will call, clinical psychologist and CEO of Leopard King Enterprise. He's the author of the book that we're going to look at today, but he also has other books which we'll be touching on later on. This book that we're talking about is Winning Flavor, and we're talking about the author Leopard King. We've also known him before as Man Ingwe, and his name is Anderson Ambindi Murunga. Welcome to the studio, sir.
Thank you so much, Jackson. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's such a privilege to host you. Mimi nimefurahi sana.
The pleasure is all mine.
Yes.
The pleasure is all mine. You know, we're here to listen and live, all right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I can feel the life.
Amen.
I can feel the oozing of life right from you.
True that.
You know, and the studio is more magnificent than the last time I was here. Why didn't you invite me for the housewarming?
So now we have invited you.
Okay, I'm
when
here
things
and I'm
are
happy.
good. Tumeshamalizana na hiyo, and we can continue to warm the house and all. But it's good to have you here tonight.
Thank you so much, brother.
All right, for the sake of somebody who is receiving or hearing you for the very first time, you could introduce yourself to us so that we can get to know you better.
Okay, so many things to many different people. So how about we begin from the known into the unknown? So the known guy is the guy that you probably know already. It's Maningwe, the music sensation, you know, like Ugali Sosa, Boda Boda, Wrong Number, Papa Wanje, Yesu Ni Beste,
Mulika
Mwizi, and the list goes on and on and on. And hapo ni kwa Jehova Wanyonyi, you know, seek ye first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all these other things shall be added unto you. Matthew 6:33, and that's Ugali Sosa for those who don't get the context. So that is the known. All right. Now, I know my fans will want to ask, so, wapi mziki? There will be time for that. All right?
Yeah.
But the bottom line here is that I began by saying I'm many different things to many different people. So to another set of people, I also occupy the church space. I've been in pastoral ministry for 14 years. And, you know, God has been gracious through the lessons, the learnings, the experience, the growth, and the evolution. God has also been gracious to me as a family person. And I'm grateful for the life that I have lived as a family person, as a husband, as a father of 3 great guys.
Wow.
Actually, our first son will sit his last exam tomorrow, KCSE.
All the best to him.
Yes, we pray for him and speak a blessing to him.
Yes.
Our second son is in the home of the boy child, Merisha School. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I've heard. It's so something you sent us. You sent us.
No. I'm asking you.
But
have you heard about the home of the boy child?
Yes, I've heard about it.
Okay, yes. So my second son is in Merisha School, the home of the boy child.
Yes.
The place where my heart really belongs. Well, my heart belongs to all the schools where my children.
So you have pieces of your heart everywhere.
I have, you know, just like you have a piece of Christ, and so do I. You know.
All right.
No, but this school is special to me.
Yeah.
It's special to me because it's not every other place that people will give you an opportunity to like try out your gifts, or it's not every other place that people will be able to appreciate gold when they see it. And when I talk about gold, I'm talking about the winning flavor. So Mauritius School, when the leadership of the school saw my book and they were able to go through it, a little bit of quality assurance here and there, they loved it and they said, this looks beautiful, this looks wonderful. We want this experience for our sons. So this particular book is domiciled as part of the program of the school. So like all the students have a copy of this book.
Awesome.
And you know, the teachers and class managers have a copy of the book, and we have a set of parents whom we partner with as mentors. They have a copy of this book, and so that's why I say that there is a big, you know, like there's a very big chunk of my heart, you know, like
Yeah.
3 ventricles out of 4, you know. But that's besides the point. So my second son is in Mauritius School. And you know, I also have a daughter, a beautiful daughter. She's now, you know, grade 5, and yeah, now because I know she's listening, she'll be offended that I didn't say where you know where she goes to school.
Yes.
But for the sake of it, yeah, she goes at Nova Pioneer at this school. So yes, so I've said about the music, I've said about I've said about church, I've said about family,
Yes.
and now the author. I can conclude with that, then I give it back to you, right? Yeah, so as an author, that has been a journey, all right? I think my authorship began when I was in campus. Why and how? It began when I was in campus because during my second year, I wrote my vision. I wrote my vision of what I wanted in life, what I wanted to do with my spiritual life, with my business, with academia, with my family, with ministry, and all that. And I think that is when my vision of being an author was born. It was in a small 48-page book, by the way. And so ever since that day, I like began journaling, you know, just writing bits and pieces of me. However, a few years ago, about 5 years ago, 4 to 5 years ago, I had a turning point in my life. I experienced some major shakeups around my life. My faith was tested. You know that saying where Jesus asked Peter, you know, do you love me?
Yeah.
And then Peter said, yes. And then Jesus asked a second time, and then Peter said, of course, yes. And then Jesus asks a third time, and then Peter is like, boss, it looks like you don't trust me anymore. You know, I mean, he shows that in his anger and his outburst. But then Jesus whispers to him calmly and tells him, you know, Satan has sought permission to sift you. But I've prayed for you that you may stand the test. And after you have stood, strengthen your brothers. All right? Immediately after Jesus was baptized, what happened? He went to the wilderness. One will imagine that he's supposed to have begun his party, right? So I think no sooner had I conceived in my heart that I have been given a good mandate to serve the household of Christ, I had actually just been consecrated as a bichet, you know. No sooner had that elevation taken place than my faith was tested, and the depth of my grounding was tested. And I was tested in all areas. I was tested in my family. I was tested in my ministry. I was tested in my business. I was tested in almost everything that I held dear to my heart, my musical career and all that. So the sifting and the testing is for another day, and it is for my other book, Second Chance.
So this is the first book.
This is the first book that I wrote, Second Chance. So the sifting and the testing is found in this book, Second Chance. It's my autobiography, and it has all that. However, through the testings, there were lessons that I learned. And as I kept learning the lessons, they kept shaping me and giving me a direction and a trajectory. So the direction and trajectory that I got out of all this was that psychology had a lot of the answers that I was seeking for, because there are questions I was asking myself, like, who am I? who am I without these things that validate me? I had gone through difficult times, for example, with my parents. They have their own, they had their own period in life, but that period rubbed off on me because I was, and I'm still, this child who is very involved in the lives of their parents, both of my parents. And as a result of that, there are things that went south on me. Eventually, I lost my relationship with my father for 2 years. And that was quite a trying period. It was quite a trying time for me. I had struggles in my church ministry. I had struggles in my family life. My business suffered losses and all that. So because I had lost quite everything that validated me, everything that defined me, and everything that was meaningful to me, I felt like I had no value, like I had no meaning, like I didn't even exist. Was life even worth it, you know? And I had all those strange, weird thoughts. You don't even want to hear that they were part of me. But yes, I had those thoughts. And God helped me get some of those answers one day at a time. It didn't happen in one day. Yeah. It didn't happen even in a year. It actually took a whole 3 years of just healing and learning, healing and learning, healing and learning. And I was learning in the space of psychology. So that's how I began even now taking formal learning in psychology to now study clinical psychology. But, you know, I was ambitious enough to also want to study counseling psychology at the same time, yes, so that I'm able to, because counseling psychology, really, in a layman's language, it is the space that assists people with their assists normal people with their daily challenges and life issues in the family, issues at work, personal conflicts. But underlying the bottom line is that it is issues of normal people. When people go for counseling, sometimes people, like people hide. There's a stigma around counseling. Counseling is for normal people living a normal life, going through human regular challenges. All right. Clinical psychology, on the other hand, I don't want to use the word abnormal, but yes, there is a lot of study of abnormal psychology, but it's basically now those issues that are a bit outside of the box, those things that are like major struggles that counseling psychology may not necessarily like get quick answers to it. And doesn't mean that clinical psychology has quick answers, but then just has the insights, more clinical and medical insights into it. So yeah, I studied both of them, and learning is a continuing process. So yeah, I'm still growing and learning and writing and submitting and publishing, in journals and all that. So that should tell you like the full package, and that's how I came to write the books that I've written. What makes me unique, and I'll close with that, what makes me unique as an author is that I am proactive. I'm proactive. So for example, I chose to study counseling psychology to study the issues of normal people going through their regular life, and understanding what is this that could cause them to cross the bridge and come to this other corner that would now need speciality. So I'm proactive to provide solutions for teenagers, provide solutions for parents, provide solutions for, even the school environment. And right now I would easily say like my specialty is around what we call teenagers, but in the psychology field, we call that child psychology. Child psychology is anyone up to 19 years, all right? They are still considered, because they are minors. So I will consider that my specialty for the moment, and it is specialty purely out of passion. And that is what gives us the book Winning Flavor. I felt that was important for me to cover that scope. As a matter of fact, my introductions are usually bigger because I like giving context. I like people to really understand the purpose why I'm here is not just because I want to tell people about a book and talk money and talk about it. I want people to really understand that it is real serious stuff, and my heart is really into it. Over.
All right. Thank you. Very, very elaborate introduction there and what you've been up to. And even through the books, I understand we had that chat just before we went on air. There is a lot that you went through that moment of wilderness and all. And I would recommend that book number one. You can show it to our audience there on camera, so that they can also be able to know all about the second chance.
Yeah, second chance. You want to hear what second chance is all about? Second chance is the subtitle is that power, like the powerful tools to make it count. Now, we all have a second chance. God gives us a second chance. We have second chances in our employment, in our business, in our families, in our relationships, and all that, all right? But what makes the difference? What makes the difference are the tools that you have to make sure that you don't have to fall back to where you were before, or you don't have to experience the same pain that you've experienced before. So it's all about the tools that will make your second chance count, because if you don't have the tools for the second chance to count, then you are likely to fall back and experience like a second cycle of that particular thing. So looks like you love it, and that's great.
Yes, I'll have a look at it as well, because nipata chance ya kuisoma vizuri. Lakini let's now look at the one that would be the one that will give the chunk of the time here on Breath of Heaven, and that is a book titled Winning Flavor. And you'll tell us now, this book, what's the genesis of this book? What's the heart behind this book?
Okay. The heart behind this book is empathy. Empathy. Empathy is really observing other people experience their own life, all right? Seeing the issues that they are grappling with and feeling like you understand really what they are experiencing to a significant extent. And when I say I understand, it's because I'm a parent to start with, so I can view life through the perspectives of my sons, right? I'm a parent, and so I can also view life through the perspectives of other parents, okay? And so when I see parents grappling with issues, and when I see teenagers mostly grapple with issues, and my background in psychology kind of gives me an insight into what's happening and what could be done. And sometimes, not most of the time, but sometimes I also have, my first degree was in biochemistry at KU. So sometimes that little understanding of what is happening at a hormonal level, what is happening at a mental level, which is really a combination of understanding the brain, the neuroscience, understanding the thought process, and the interlock and the fluidity between the mind, because the mind powers the brain and the mind also powers the spirit. The mind is the gateway to the spirit, and the mind is also the gateway to the brain, and the brain is what runs the physiological person. So let me not get really into that and lose you. The point I'm saying is empathy. That because I have had a level of insight, a level of understanding, and being able to say, wait a minute, I can see right through this, and there is something that I can do about it. That is how this book was born. So let me talk about the insight. So I'm here to annoy quite a number of your audience, but I have to annoy them for them to understand me, all right? This way, that there is so much we take for granted in our societal setup, and we think that those things don't count, yet they are the real impetus around the lives we live today. So I'll just give 3 quick examples. So for one, a lot of the challenges of the modern parent is going through a difficult economic time, irrespective of what your socioeconomic space or spectrum would be. Like, sometimes we have to put in like twice the effort for half recognition or half the result. But what is the net effect of that? The net effect of that is that parents are away from home most of the time, not capable of providing that necessary support, emotional, sana emotional support for their children. And it is responsible for a lot of the struggles of the generation Alpha, even Gen Z to a significant extent. It is that loneliness, because the parents would love to do more. The parents would love to be physically present to offer that emotional support to their children, but circumstances do not allow them to do so. But now, what do we do about that? So that is the first annoyance I wanted to create. You can see it's not a nuclear missile. The second component, it has an A and B. The generation I was raised in, I'm not too young. I'm 45, all right? And if you're asking why my son is sitting exams, yes, I married at 25.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do the math. Yeah.
So you can do the math. That's not very difficult math.
Yes.
So this is the point.
Yep.
In my generation, a lot of the families were together and intact to a very large extent. There were exceptions. You know, our parents went to war and families had their own sets of challenges. But to a large extent, the community had that aspect of community parenting, number one. Number two, a lot of those families, for whatever reason, and there are explanations for that, a lot of those families were much more together. Today, studies show that there is much more separation and much more divorce within our family setup, all right? Yeah. And I gave the disclaimer that, you know, a few people might, first of all, dislike me before they like me. And the point is this, that I am not necessarily talking about the divorce. I'm not necessarily talking about the separation. I'm not talking about the conflict within the family. I'm talking about the impact of all that to the children if it is not properly managed. Right. I hope I'm making sense there. Yeah. So there is a lot of that happening within the family today, but then the adults, the parents, always perceive and process those issues, just the two of them. They argue about the two of them, what is good for the two of them, what needs to work for the two of them, but nobody really thinks about the child in this equation and how it affects them, and therefore what can we do for the child. So as a result of that, a lot of the younger people, the children that are involved, who are basically the Gen Z Alpha and the next generation, they are then left with a lot of confusion. And around the teen age, that's when they begin forming identity. Now, there are many perspectives of perceiving identity. I'll just take one. And identity in this case is that as people are growing up, there is a template. There's a template that we copy. You know, like as we observe our parents relate, we get a blueprint of what relationships look like. As we see them fight, argue, and throw things and tantrums at each other, the children that are born in that setup also have outbursts. Why? Because that is the template that they have installed. It's the software they have installed as the mode of life and that way of, you know, doing things. And finally, the parents, the modern parents today, those who are successful, you know, like those who have hustled and gotten from bottom up, yeah. They also put pressure on their children to also meet the same pedigree, but that's not really what I want to talk about. I want to talk about parenting styles, that people parent their children differently. So from a psychological perspective, I'll just try to rush it. We have what we call authoritative parenting. Yep. Authoritative is actually like the most recommended parenting. Now, when I use the word authoritative, maybe some people may get lost. The bad one is authoritarian.
Yeah.
Do you now have me?
Yep.
The bad one is authoritarian. The dictatorship is authoritarian. Authoritative is that you have rules, you are firm, you have high standards, but then you are sensitive to the needs of the child. You listen back and you find a way to understand and to meet their needs, okay? And then now authoritarian, I've already said it's the dictatorship, like my way or the highway. If you don't toe the line, you are in trouble. But there are effects that come with it. When you are authoritarian to your children, they may follow the rules, but then they suffer self-esteem, all right? Or when they go to other environments where the dictator is not present, okay, they also try to show that kind of power and assertion on others. So they bully others to, they deflect, the experience that they have with the authoritarian parenting, they show it. It's called displacement, all right? They show it on somebody who cannot fight back. You see, if your parent is authoritarian, you can't fight them back. Now, you displace by putting it on your fellow students whom you think you are safer with. Now, there is another parenting style which is neglectful, and the other one is permissive. Now, neglectful are those parents who are lost in their own troubles. So they are either buried in their work or they have their own issues that have overwhelmed them. So they are like, okay? But the permissive one is the one I want to talk about the most, because a lot of our parents today are permissive. Why are they permissive? They are permissive because they are busy at work and not available. And for that reason, the little time that they come home, first of all, they are disengaged, and then their children end up engaging on phones. And social media is a whole problem on its own. I don't even want to talk about it. I can't finish now. But just to get the children to go, anything they ask, yani wakuondoke, wasikulete stress. You get the point? They bring their issues for discussion. You're like, what did you want? Have your way, have your way. Or you give them money to make up for it. Now, these are the family setup where parents are not agreeing on how to parent the children. So if families are like separated or something like that, there are parents who then channel their love to their children. So they don't discipline the children, they don't set rules for them. Now, those parents who don't live with their children, when the children come, you want to give them your best show. You don't want them to go home, to go back to their mother or to their father with a bad experience. So what do? You become permissive. Anything they want, just have it. And you don't want to be strict with them. But in the process, this world is full of rules every single day. When you are born, your name has to be registered. Yeah. It's a rule, like rule. In the US, when your child is born, you don't even carry them in your hand going home. You put them kwa kiti, unawafungia kwa kiti yao hapo nyuma. Straight from hospital. Straight from hospital. You because you can't drive with your child in your hands, or stuff like that. But the point, even in school, there are rules, there are regulations. So if you don't get your child used to being told no and being given rules and regulations, next you'll be meeting in a police station, next you'll be meeting in court, you'll be meeting in disciplinary cases, in school and all that. So all this put together is the parenthesis against which this book was written, so that I can give a platform. This book is a journal. It discusses something briefly, but it asks those critical questions. Why? So that the student, the teenager, can be able to navigate those issues, can be able to navigate the challenges that they are experiencing, can be able to have a vision of their own, and then that vision can be translated into their life purpose. And I'll explain something quickly there. Many people always think about their vision. Like, what are your career goals? What are your goals, academic goals? What's your vision? And then it ends there. That is not good enough to motivate a child to study. And that's the reason why a lot of children do not find reason to study. So, for example, if your parents can afford life, they probably have a home or two homes, a few family cars. A child could easily look at their parents and then ask themselves, what am I what am I fighting to do? Especially if the parents are the type that show others attitude, like you need to know people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then the children get the same attitude, get entitled, and feel like they really don't have to work hard because there are certain assurances, there are insurance policies all around them. What needs to happen is this. First of all, we need to help our teenagers and our youth to be able to have a sense of self-awareness, like who they are. We begin from the known. What do you know about yourself? Having had a sense of self-awareness, okay, which helps you to know your strengths, helps you to know your weaknesses. But this book also challenges you to have conversations with your friends, with your teachers, with your pastors, with your youth workers, so that we explore a certain concept. It's called Johari's window. It talks about Jackton, you are known, like what you know about yourself. And I wish I had more time because I would have made you my specimen, but let me just run that. And then there is also an area about you which you don't know, but the people around you know. Your workmates know, your parents know, your pastors know a few things about you that you don't know yourself. Now, on the flip side, there are things that you know about yourself, but other people do not know. And then there is also another hidden area of you which you don't know and the people around you don't know, but if you explode, you will then get a discovery. So that becomes part of the package of self-awareness of who you are. Having known who you are, your strengths, your uniqueness, your gifts, your abilities, your potential, your capabilities, and all that, all right? This book takes the conversation further and poses that self-awareness. It's a chapter called Primary Self-Awareness. It pauses. After it has paused, all right, we then take two tangents. The first tangent is a positive self-image. We start digging specifically for what is great about you, what is good about you, what's unique about you, what is your strength, what people over time have made you believe is like your unique magic bullet, like the sling in David's hands. You understand? So it's not about the big resources, it's not about the big imaginations of things. In fact, I use the example of David, who was actually given a javelin by the king, was given boots and a breastplate and all that, and he said, these things are too heavy on me, and he trusted the resources that he had, which was just the sling and the 5 stones. So the book tries to look for your sling and tries to look for your 5 stones. What are they? After you found them, we take it further, and the book asks you, have you had bad moments before? Have you had disappointments? Have you had upsets before that you were able to overcome? Now, if you overcame an upset, first of all, there is the element of resilience, because it means you're resilient, all right? But you need to ask yourself, what are these attributes about you that made it possible for you to rise? You take that attribute and you add on your positivity, all right? Having put that all together, you are then able to bring the positive self-image, and you're actually able to say that this is how I've been perceiving myself. But I think now I know that I am better than this. I am greater than this. I'm more capable than this. Now, we use that positive self-image to take a trajectory of your life. And that is the process of this. I'm actually discussing the winning flavor. That is what this book does. So we take a trajectory into the future. And what is that trajectory? Simple. We don't ask, what is your vision? The book does not ask, what is your vision? The book asks, what is your concept of success? What does success mean to you? I'm sure you've seen that. What's your concept of success? So you define it. You write it as you want. It's a journal. It gives you space to write that. After you've written that, the book then asks you, who are your role models and why? Who are these people that inspire you? It really doesn't matter what aspects of them. What is it that inspires you about these people who are now your role models? So that put together paints a picture of your concept of success. And your concept of success is what? Is actually your vision. All right? Now, we come back and we also move forward. Coming back is this way. That vision, what would it take for you to get that vision? Like, what career goals would enable you to have that success? After we've gotten that career goal, then we ask, what are the subject combinations that will enable you to achieve that career goal? You understand? And then we take you to, very simple, the admission process. what are the scores? What grades do you need to be able to go to a university or to go to a college, to a tertiary college or whatever? You get that. And then finally, you relate all that to where your current performance is. Then you look at the gap in between, and it gives you an idea of now the effort you need to work forward. There are two aspects of it, and I'll be done. One aspect is I want to take you back to success. Remember, I said success vision. I said there is coming back and going forward.
Yeah.
Going forward, the question is this: after you have achieved this success, what do you want to do with it? What do you want your success to assist you to do? What do you want to do with now you've succeeded? So you have the means, which means that if you thought about something today and you want to do it, you can do it. So what do you want to do it? That translates to your life purpose. Okay? Now, a lot of people have a vision, but they don't have a purpose. So if you have a vision and you don't have a purpose that is attached to it, and you don't have values, okay, that form part of your identity of who you are, then it means any means at all. That's how people get corrupt.
Yeah.
Because they set their vision to attain a certain level of financial levels. Okay? So any path that gives you that money takes you to your vision. But really, you get my point? That's why you need to attach your identity, who you are, attach them to your values and your beliefs, and then attach purpose to it and attach vision to it. And then all that will lead you there. There is another conversation in this book, and I'll just run over it. There's another conversation because it's an important conversation for the teenagers, all right? This is something that I did with my children, and I'm not ashamed to talk about it. And I have also done mentorship programs with other students, and we have also done this program, like now in January. It is the conversation we're having with Merisho School. Remember, I told you that that 3 ventricles of my heart are in Merisho, and the purpose for that is because they gave me that opportunity to exploit this book. And we use this book not just as me and them. We have a proper structured mentorship program whereby, and I'm running very quick with this, whereby we have a set of parents. We've come together. So we are parents in the same school. We come together to offer community parenting. You remember the challenges I've talked about? Challenges of parenting and all that. So we come together as parents to fill up for those gaps through community parenting. Because studies prove that when students are given an opportunity to interact with mentors, it then, first of all, helps to bridge the gap. The children don't feel neglected and abandoned. But secondly, it forms a template of communication and engagement that then enables these students to be able to communicate for themselves, to argue for themselves. So I'll give you a very quick example. So for example, at Merisho School, all right, people used to shave like your hair, Jackson, all right? You know the difference between your hair and mine?
Very big difference.
Mine is a bit longer. Now, so recently, Merisho School allowed boys to keep long hair.
Right.
And do you know how that happened?
How?
People thought that we who do mentorship, we are the ones who did that. No. We actually empower the student. We would go to the student and they will tell us there are a few of their challenges here and there. And we tell them, no, we did not come to take over your problems so that we are the ones telling the administration. No. We came here to teach you and to train you how to express yourselves in a logical and in a safe manner, how to take feedback and how to reason and how to arrive at a logical conclusion. So imagine students came together and they moved a motion called the hair bill and they took it to administration and they reasoned with them and they were counter reason and it is a whole document, by the way, written. It's a whole document, and they reasoned, and then a consensus was arrived at that will allow you to keep long hair on conditions A, B, C, D. But the point I was saying was that we go there as parents once every month and we use this book, The Winning Flavor. On the flip side of it, the teachers and the coaches and including, like even when the principal addresses the students, and the chaplain and the guiding and counseling and the mentorship coordinators of the school, they also use the same theme every week on Thursday morning.
All right.
You get what I'm saying? So we are all drawing from the same center of knowledge. But the point I was trying to argue here is the fact that when we engage with students in a thematic manner, then we know this month we are talking about healthy relationships. We settle that. We know that next month we're talking about integrity. We settle that. Next month we are talking about discipline. We settle that. Next time we are talking about casting of vision, like what's your vision? What are your goals? What I've just explained, I really don't need to repeat it. But now in January, what our program is, and that's my last point. It's important because teenagers right now, academics is important, and it's important to give them like that impetus to be engaged in the academic. So in this book, and that's what we're going to do in Merisho School starting January, is to have an academic engagement, something I've done with my children. So just quick results. My son, who is sitting Form 4, who does his last paper, when we did this academic analysis according to this book, right, moved places from 46 in 46 out of all the form out of his schools, and he's in Lukenya school, and moved to position 23. So he moved a whooping 23 places.
Impressive.
All right. And he moved from position 12 in his stream to position 4.
Wow.
In his stream. My son in Merisho School, when we did this, God willing, next term, when our class will be doing an awards, if we will do academic award per subject, my son was the top student in mathematics in his class. After we did this. So what do? Something very simple, backed by psychology. Jackton, I want us to have this conversation, and we'll do in 3 minutes.
All right.
Give me the subject that you didn't like the most in your school. Now it doesn't matter.
Maths.
Uko na job already. Math. Okay, good. So in this book, this is what we say. I want you to be a student. All right? Math. Tell me about math. Give me some 3 quick statements. Like, take yourself back to high school. Talk about math. Give me 3 statements.
What I remember very well about maths is statement number 1, the questions, especially the questions where you would be asked to, for example, tell us a person A worked in this shamba, and he did that work for 3 days. If they work with 3 other people, how long will it take? That thing usually got me off.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. So let me take that. So in this book, we allow you to write the thought you've just said.
All right.
Here. Number 2. The math teacher.
The math teacher, very, very strict. Very strict. Whenever you fail any of the questions, especially in the exams, you are sure that you're going to get some good beating.
Okay. Yeah. Me and my math teacher. So you and your math teacher.
Yes. Well,
the relationship now.
It could vary because we had different teachers, actually 2 of them. There is one teacher whom I liked because she was approachable, but the other one was very strict, but I would not really interact well with him.
Okay.
Yes. Math exam, it was terrifying, to say the least, because paper 1, paper 2, and all. So if you don't get the questions right, especially those, they seem easy ones, then you're not going to get anything past 50%. So
math lesson.
Boring.
Okay, thank you. Now, so this is what we do. Exactly what we have done is what you find in this book. And we do that for all the subjects. And then we come in to do a qualitative analysis. A qualitative analysis of that feedback. Now, we are not just taking words. We are interpreting the meaning behind everything that you have said. And then we begin a conversation. Imagine this conversation is not a conversation for your math teacher. It's not even a conversation for your parent. It's a conversation for you. So we start asking questions. I'm looking at the time. We start asking questions like, Now you see you've already left, all right? But I can ask you a question. Like, what do you think could have been the one thing that would have made a difference in your journey of mathematics? What is, just give me one magical thing that you think, if you look backwards, would have made a difference in your math experience?
If I would have a proper attitude towards the teacher and the subject in and of itself, probably things would have been different.
Okay. So that is the conversation that this book gives you.
Yeah.
It allows you to look into the situation and you do it yourself, because the concept and the philosophy behind this book, I'm looking at the minute, so don't worry, I'm a media guy. So the concepts of this book are such that you do it yourself. It is a book that is in tandem with the CBC model of teaching, yeah. And by the way, just for the sake of it, and you need to talk to me nicely so that I ask Marisho School to come and advertise with you.
They should actually come.
Yeah, because they are very big on CBC. Okay, they are very big on CBC, and it is actually, maybe it is the only school in the country where the junior high school is domiciled in a high school. Most junior secondary are still in the primary
school.
Yeah, I think it's the only school in the country, if the late Professor Magoha's words were anything to go by at the time, that had the CBC domiciled in high school. So this book is written with the CBC mindset. It gives you critical thinking, so it gives you an opportunity to think. It gives you a chance to solve your problems, problem solving. All right. It also gives you a chance to imagine, like you see, like when we talk about your success concept, you remember when I said the vision success concept? You're supposed to write a composition about, this book asks you, you want to be successful, yes. By what age do you want to achieve that? After you've said the age you want to achieve, we say then, so if you say you want to achieve that by the time you're 40 years or you're 50 years, we ask you, this book will ask you to write a composition of your 45th birthday or your 50th birthday. So you're supposed to write the entire setup, who is there, what is happening, what is the setup, and where is the party being, and then you're also supposed to imagine and write your own speech in that birthday party. So this book really gives you the CBC kind of skill sets. Particularly critical thinking, problem solving, resilience, and imagination. Your ability to imagine, because your ability to imagine is the beginning of providing solutions. We can't talk enough of this book. There are many other topics. I'll probably come back to continue having this conversation someday. But I don't know, do you want to allow me to tell people how they can get this book?
Most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as I tell people how to get this book, I have a promo. For tonight. So let me, wherever you are, just take the number I want to give you as a promo before I tell you how you can get the book. But I'll give a major discount to the first 10 people to buy in. All right. So the procedure of buy-in, before I tell you how you can get the procedure of buy-in, the number is 0751 350 911. I'll repeat, 0751 350 911. That's our call center number or our customer service number. However, it is the account number. It's the account number. So the first 10 people to buy this book now as I'm talking will get a massive discount. This book costs 1,500, but the first 10 people to buy it directly, I'll give them a massive discount to buy the book at 1,000 bob. Okay, so this is how you buy it. You go to M-Pesa, pay bill. The pay bill number is 247247. Ile Equity wale wanaijua 247247, Equity Bank 247247 is the business number. The account number is the number I have just given you. 0751 350 911. 911 is watu wanaijua. 07 yes 0751 350 911. Pay bill number 247 247. So the first 10 people
to purchase.
Or let me just let me just be gracious and say those who purchase during this show. The moment I log out of this show, see, that's gracious enough. Because you know then I'm also thinking critically. What happens if I find 11 people have bought and somebody has already bought and send money for it? Then what do I do with that person? You get my point? Yes. So those people who will buy the book right now while I'm on air, you will buy it at 1,000 bob, and that's a discount. But once I'm off air, we are done with that promotion. Please underline that I said that so that nobody says nilimcheza ama alichezwa. So how do you get this book? This book is available at the largest digital bookstore in East Africa. It's called Zania. Zania is Xania. So if you just Google Zania, you'll find it. But I will save you the trouble. You really don't have to do that. Just go to my website. My website is leopardking.africa. I repeat, leopardking.africa. Leopard in the leopard ile achui, the English word. Jackton, do you want to repeat that word of leopardking.africa? Just type in leopardking.africa. You're good to go. leopardking.africa. That is my website. All right. So once you go to my website, the book links are there. The moment you click on the book link, it will automatically take you to the exact link of the book on the digital bookstore, on the Zania bookstore. Let me surprise you. This book is in English.
All right.
This book is in Swahili, so you can get an English version. You can get a Swahili version. You can get an ebook, so you can get this book physically delivered to you.
All right.
Even the ones who have bought the promo that I've talked about. It really doesn't matter where you are. Kama uko Mombasa, we nunua. Pay bill number 247 account number 0751 350 911. Hata kama uko Mombasa, hata kama uko Bungoma, hata kama uko Kakamega, uko kwetu, hata kama uko Kisumu, kama uko Meru, kama uko kwa mlima, gusa hiyo mlima.
Nunua kitabu.
Guza hiyo mlima, nunua kitabu. We will call you within 24 hours. We will call you and we will agree with you how you get the book, and the book will be delivered, like much. Of course, you'll pay for the sending fee. So because we need to talk about that so that you tell us where the book is being sent. But the cost of sending is not usually much. It's usually anything between 200 to 300. It's not much. But the point I'm saying is that you can get an English, you can get a Swahili version, you can get an ebook, so you can also buy just the digital version of the book on that link, and you can also buy an audiobook where you just get to listen to the book as you are traveling. So Jackson, I think you've been very gracious with me.
Very gracious, and I'm grateful that you have shared your heart regarding this book, and I believe we'll have a second version of this to be able to get to hear more from what you have to say regarding the heart that you have for parents, for teens, for young people, and even for us, that we may grow to be the kind of people that God created us to be, to be those great people. The flavor there that you're talking about, that will be that winning flavor that we'll be able to experience in our lives. And so I wish you all the very best. I pray for you even in this ministry that you've begun, that God will be with you. And I've seen time has really been on our side. There's a song I wanted to play, but I will leave it to
don't worry about the song.
Yes.
To all of our listeners who love me, who have always been fans of Ugali Sosa and Maningwe, next time Jackton is on air, it doesn't matter. Next time Jackton is on air, just tell him there was this song, but then you can find it on YouTube. The song is called Huruma za Mungu. Huruma za Mungu. It talks about very interesting things. In that song, I actually talk about, you see the story of the prodigal son. The prodigal son who went away, and even the one who remained, and the struggles that they had. All those were parenting issues. They were parenting issues, and I've argued them out in the song. So Huruma za Mungu by Leopard King, and you'll get it. So Jackton, me, I'm good. I want to shut up soon after this. Can I just show the viewers and
Yes,
say
the book.
Yes. By the way, if you want second chance, we can also talk about it.
Right.
It's found on the website. It's found on the website. Second chance also has a Kiswahili
Version.
yeah, also has a Kiswahili version. But now it is winning. It's winning flavor. And I told you need to talk to me nicely so that I ask Merisho School to come and
Advertise. All right. I believe they're coming. They're coming. Thank you so much.
You haven't talked nicely to me.
I'll talk nicely to you. They're coming, but I believe they're coming. Thank you so much for your time, and we appreciate you as well for the good work that you are doing. And tonight, I was hosting Leopard King, the author of the book, The Winning Flavor, and that other book, The Second Chance. Second
Yeah,
Chance.
it's called Second Chance. Whoever is calling me, please don't call me. I'm on air.
Yes.
I know I had promised a guy called Absalom Maswani. He had said he'll call me on air. He's not the one calling,
All right.
but he had said he'll call me on air to prove to some people that he knows people. So my friend Absalom, si tumesettle hiyo maneno. Yeah. So
right.
for now, I'm waiting to to start giving responses to the people who have bought the promo book. And so I'm counting 5. The moment this count is over, I'm done. If you're buying the book, buy now. Pay bill number 247247, account number 0751 350 911. Then the count goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What is the time, my brother?
Way past 9.
No. I want us to be in agreement that the time
9 past.
9 past.
9.
Yes. So any payment after
This.
9 past, Ujue, you are outside of the offer that has been made.
All right,
God bless
thank
you,
you.
sir.
Bless you too. All right, in this next hour, we continue with our wonderful time of fellowship. We'll be having reflections as well as prayer focus right here on Breath of Heaven. Keep it locked.
From the scriptures on Breath of Heaven, an adventurous journey through the Psalms.
Psalm